Good evening. You're now viewing the meeting stream and recording for the Scottsville Architectural Review Board meeting. Today is Thursday, March 9th, 2023. My name is Matt Lawless. I serve as Scottsville's town administrator. This evening's meeting is held in compliance with the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and the state's open meeting laws. We're meeting in person at the town office for 1 Valley Street. The meeting's open to the public. We also have opportunities for the public to join us and participate by phone or online. If you're viewing the meeting in the future on our YouTube channel, thank you very much. The local time here now is 10 minutes until 7 o'clock, the posted start time for the meeting. We're still assembling our quorum and setting up, so I'll mute this line until we come to order. Thank you.
All right.
Snapchat. Is that the right microphone? Looks good. You are good.
Good?
Yeah, go for it.
I call the ARB meeting of Thursday, January 2nd to order.
That's not the date.
Is that right? Is that what I said? Sorry.
Thank you.
This
Thank you.
is Thursday, February 2nd. Today is March 9th.
Welcome.
All right, you guys want to make a vote on approving the minutes from last month?
Yes, but before we after we do the call to order and quorum, I would like to make an adjustment to the agenda.
Great.
So do those.
All right.
Okay. You want to approve the minutes?
What you change the agenda?
Does it matter which happens first?
Oh, well, we got to do the call to order. You did the call, and then we got to establish the quorum. That's all you got to say.
Just as that quorum is established?
Yeah. Okay. So for the agreed to agenda, I would like to also add on appointment of chair.
There you go.
Since we have a vacancy, and then assuming that we do appoint Aaron as chair, then next month we would have it set to appoint another a vice chair. Yeah.
Okay. Should that be in new business? Would that fall under new business?
Yes, yeah. Put that under new business.
Okay, great. I'd also like to add a Tiger Peel update and hear a dog if there is a adoption.
Okay, at 6B.
What was the second?
Dollar General. Anything else? Okay. All right. Motion to approve last meeting's minutes.
Second.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I can't motion. I'm asking.
Right.
On an amended agenda.
Yeah.
I move to approve the amended agenda. We have
Second.
There we go.
Great. All in favor?
Aye. Yep.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Here's John.
Great.
Joining us at 5 after.
And sounds like we have a staircase.
Matters from the public.
Our applicants are here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, everybody's here.
All right, no matters from the public, then old business.
Please join us, sir. We're carrying your church item over from last week. Welcome. Join us here and we'll talk through your progress. Thank you so much for the exhibit.
Oh, great. You come over there. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Full scale.
Yeah, I mean, this is new scale and it's almost exactly what the building would be. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Which we are still waiting for of the new grant, which is the emergency exit grant for the United States. And plans were submitted, but they were not enough in detail, and they have to have an architect, so Michael, drawings and to understand. So we had to resubmit. So they had 2 large projects that they had to finish related to the but this is what it would be like. This old emergency exit was just a window made into a short door, and you had to step down so far, and that just come down to here, and it was really steep. So now we are having grass almost level up to here and up, you know, by the, all this, like a field, it'll come out right near that, project ball.
Is that on, is it Jackson Street?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the second level of the church. Off of,
Yeah.
on Jackson.
That's exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It gets access to the rear, like office rooms in the church building. And then from there into the balcony level of the church hall. And then so exiting here and then coming across towards the street this way.
Okay, okay, that's helpful, thank you.
So that's an access to the upper level of the church building, which couldn't be done any other way from this side.
Right.
Yeah, that little open area between the fellowship hall right there and the storage building, it will come right through the wall right by the storage building. That's this door right now, and that will green spaces right in the other.
Okay. And is this, we saw the notes, it said it was steel, or what material is it?
This will be all, the bottom of the net itself will be plate metal.
Okay.
And all the thickness and rails will be steel also. I just made this replica out of wood.
You made it?
Yes. The field is not wet, but it's good, but it's still active. So we will have a steel plated bottom, half-inch thickness straight on, 42 inches high from bottom to top. The top rail will be a 1.5 inch steel bar, with the handrail on both sides, a pipe, a metal pipe. At 36 inches pipe, which is what you see it. So you're pretty much looking right at.
It will just be a different material.
Yeah, all steel. Yeah, well, this is of course wood.
Right.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see a one-to-one replica.
Yeah, well, you know, it's so much more convincing than just looking at it. Piece of paper.
It is.
No, the old saying. Hey, this is what the 1,000 words. So, yeah.
So I assume all of this is ADA compliant.
Right, yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. Can I just out of curiosity, just to,
It's all,
not because I'm questioning it.
it's all screws. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice pipe.
I think the code is between 34 and 36. So I just did it at 36. And then the 42 inch is 36 is at hip. You could fall backwards, but 42 well keeps you, keeps the gravity of your body with them rather than getting kind of top heavy over 36 inch pipe. So
I'm guessing it's going to be painted black as well.
everything should be back. Everything black.
I think it's a really lovely, elegant, simple railing. Is there a texture on the stainless steel to prevent slippage?
On the plate seal, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That is, and it's except for this one part is from the beacon with that. This is 17 feet. It's going to come down at an angle. It's about 17 feet, which will have a 7-inch incline. So we could meet the code here. We have to come up 7 inches. This will be flat, and then this will be I think 6 inches flat. Yeah, height. That's it. So this is a 7-inch incline. Flat and then 6 inches up that. See that right there.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Do you want?
No, thank you so much for having like a visual representation for us to see.
Go through in the last few days, I can usually do this.
Yeah.
And this, and then we'll show them exactly you will be looking at a phase one, there like that.
Well, it's very helpful, thank you. Yeah.
And it's, 4 inches in between, which is code, everything's code. You look at.
Great.
Yep.
Well, do we have a motion to approve?
That would be in order.
I move to approve the COA for Methodist Church.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, well, thank you so much.
Now, I can leave this if anybody else needs to see it.
No one else needs to see it.
Okay. What? Well, when you finish, it will.
It's
Very-
lovely. Yeah.
Very nice.
Even better, because better, it's just.
Yeah, it'll be really elegant.
Just sign the top line on your thing there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and, how much?
It's 20 American dollars.
Today's date is 3.
Well, I thought it was February the 2nd.
A couple days ago. We were talking about that yesterday, about how it doesn't feel like March, it's like
No,
still in January. My head is-
I mean, it's just words, right? This point. Yeah.
Well,
See if these fruit tree buds make it through.
Yeah.
And they still need rain.
Woke up with a little bit of frost on the windshield this morning. Was like, oh
I
god,
heard freezing rain tonight.
jeez. It has to be on a day that I don't work the next day. Go
Do
take
you
it.
have any quality welding to do? Or sorry, not quality welding, but
got my.
Structural steel.
Structural. Yeah, that's really cool to be a big project.
Yeah.
I can keep the local business.
yeah, I think that's
I can
good.
keep the local business. doing.
Right.
Right.
Can I share a couple? You must.
Sure.
Anybody propose to
Witness as in,
it? Spirit.
I don't know, is that part of our,
I mean, different, I know this is, I shouldn't do that, I'm sure.
I'm new here, but you wouldn't offend me. You wouldn't offend me.
It's up to you. You guys. If you rather not this time.
well, I do feel like we should probably stay within our,
I look forward to all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks.
and I, thank you all very much for consideration for your comments, and I appreciate it.
Well, we really appreciate you coming in. It's good to see you again.
I'll see you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, I will. Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah, appreciate that.
March. What year?
I shorter than
2016.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah.
Means you're getting old. Would I do that when I'm like, it's still closer to that year? It's like, no, time flies.
Update people on Tiger Fuel. I met with Megan, who's part of, is it Martin and Moore?
Yes.
Okay, and they are doing this work. And so we reviewed the.
Take care, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
Absolutely.
We reviewed the plans, which included some of the trees we talked about keeping. So I made it a point to point out the other trees we talked about keeping.
This would be the time.
Yeah, and they were very open to hearing about it, and we're gonna review it with their managers. We marked all of the trees that we discussed.
And nothing had disappeared since last time we were there.
Nothing,
Good.
they haven't done any work on that edge.
Awesome.
So,
Good timing.
Yeah, so they'll start doing site work tomorrow. Actually, I think today, and then they'll continue tomorrow. And hopefully, they will keep inventory of those trees.
We had a scare last week that made me think of this construction inspections. They were testing the water lines to see whether they were still good. And the dye that they put in the lines to test it got in the creek because the lines are not good. They are leaky, and it turned the water blue. And that generated fire department calls and hazmat calls and, why is the creek blue? This is something that we care a lot about in Scottsville. And emergency response, we followed it up and found that job site. They had just started and they got our emergency attention on the first day. Welcome to the neighborhood. To tell us before you do these things. So we can work on this.
Good that they see that the community is active.
It was harmless stuff. It's normal in the plumbing business. That's how you find a leak, but they found a leak.
It was very potent because it made it its way all the way down to my apartments, which is, right at the levee.
I got a couple calls. It's outside your house. It's blue.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Everybody's.
We walked the whole trace up and, walked across the road. And,
I am curious if that patch of ground is going to dry up now, though. Was that the corner of Dollar General, like right above there, or was it further down?
It was above that at the Tigerfield site.
Oh, at Tigerfield. Wow,
yeah.
That was a good way.
Yeah. That went all the way through down. So thank you, Aaron. That helps too.
Yeah. Speaking of Dollar General.
I don't have anything else from their team. I've seen a couple of different contractor crews working.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the landscaper. I think it's utility work. So
it looks like water retention.
Yeah.
Work.
Mm-hmm.
But and why would they be doing that work if they're not doing the other?
I don't know. I don't know if it's prep for what we have permitted. I know they've got all kinds of erosion and drainage and plumbing issues down in there.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes sense to fix those before planting things on top. But,
it doesn't look like they're planting anything. It looks like they're growing grass.
I will follow up with Mr. Harris and see if he's gotten a timeline yet. The last thing that we heard was the property owner and the tenant were scrapping over who was going to pay for all of the work,
right?
Which is fine as long as it gets done.
Right.
And it'll be planting time here very soon.
Right.
Okay, I'll get up with Mr. Harris on it.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Sure.
New business. Hey, Shannon. Hello.
We are painting the exterior of the house. So I was told to bring a paint sample of what we are looking at, and then also a picture of the color. It's currently this like light yellow, this bluish door. And we were looking at my 5-year-old scribbled on the paint samples, but we're looking at persimmon, like a
warming peach.
Yeah, the warm peach color. Yeah. I also like this one, but Luke thinks it's too light. We want to get something that covers the dirt. And then we also like these purples. So, but I don't know if that would be too much purple. But anyway, so we're gonna get some paint samples.
Are you thinking purple like for the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I like this color to keep it bright.
Yes. Yeah. Matt, we've talked about paints in the past. You can sit down, Shannon. We've talked about paints in the past, and actually, I think you were part of one of those conversations, and maybe because we had talked about wanting to do it. Yeah. Where do we stand with house colors in relation to like their time in the street? When did we get house color? 1930.
You get this. Oh, it's right there. Paint is a powerful building material.
It's holding up part of my house.
Indeed.
It's structurally powerful.
That's right.
The basic idea, speaking from our codes and not as a historian or architect myself, is that the paint helps to communicate the architectural history of the town. We have these buildings that are from different historical periods, and there was a palette of colors available when they were originally built, that they were able to make different kinds of colors, or different colors were in fashion. And so we want to continue to tell that story. It provides a fair number of options, but it does limit it over everything that can be had at the hardware store. Things like the Colonial Williamsburg collection of hues. It's quite a wide range of options, but that's what they were able to make in colonial times. And so you don't have access to certain colors. So in our guidelines, we give a kind of general narrative and then links to the major brands of, if your house is in this period or architectural style, these are the ways that you should think about your colors.
And what would we consider Shannon's house?
That's where I need the architectural help.
I think he will be out of any of this.
John, is he on?
He is, but he can't. Can we put the phone right up in front of the camera so we can see your house?
Oh,
I think
It's just a segment of it.
Can you not hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you could do Google Street View.
It doesn't go there. It's too narrow.
Oh. Well, I guess, I mean, so you said 1930s.
Mhm.
John, do you have a sense of the type of house? It's a wood shingle with double story metal roof, front porch.
They're craftsmen.
I don't know if it's so much craftsman.
it is definitely. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt, but I was trying to get it to be a picture. Go onto Google and in a little Google search bar, just type in 605 Beach Street, Scottsville, Virginia.
Intriguing.
It basically it's ever been listed.
Right.
It'll be able to pull up the scroll down.
Nice. There it is.
The old Zillow.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Can really.
Would you like to serve on this board?
Yeah.
Those are good pictures.
Yeah.
You see this okay, John?
Yes, I can see that. That's
Okay.
great.
What does this style say to you?
American Foursquare, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of a federal, but it's got craftsman columns. Anyways,
Yeah.
that existing color. So where's the purple going to go?
Well, so I think we're going to do peach. So it wouldn't be
Okay.
a drastic change from the light yellow.
Well, that would be in keeping. That would be all right.
Do you have a sense of the shutters and the door? So the door, I think we've repainted it that color that's on there right now. It's Van Dusen blue by Benjamin Moore. And then the shutters we just painted the same color. Okay. They weren't dark, maybe.
Okay, I see that.
So everything's that blue now.
And would the porch be the same color? Is the porch going to stay green?
The porch is now a gray. We painted it it's called the porch gray.
Okay.
Intuitive, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like a porch paint at Lowe's when we went to, because it was all peeling. John, have you seen the colors that Shannon brought in when we showed John those colors?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, see what kind of lighting we get.
No.
That looks.
That's going to be tricky, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
We're looking at the bottom, the peachiest color on what's it called, persimmon on the top.
So the middle would be the warming peach, which I think is
Either one of those two.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we liked the top
You might
one
want to
the
Google
best.
those too.
Oh,
If you can see the screen.
Okay.
What's the
Yeah,
brand of paint?
just
Oh,
say it's
yeah.
Persimmon. They have different persimmons. So I tried looking that up. If you look it up.
I can give you the numbers. So
Yeah,
it's
what's the number?
Persimmon HGSW 6339.
SGHW persimmon. Is that persimmon pearl?
No, just persimmon.
Okay.
Matt, I wonder if you.
Might be a
type
Google
in-
Images. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like our living room.
Great choice. They know. They know. Oh.
So John, you were saying I mean, clearly the columns are craftsman style, but you were saying that house style is which?
Federal.
Federal.
Yeah. So that's actually a pretty strong peach, isn't it? Hmm.
Yeah, it's got a lot of pink to it in that picture at least that I don't see on that.
There's also the second one. Will you
Yeah.
tell me?
Oh, the middle one's going to be warming peach, and
I don't think we're like,
not that one.
we probably aren't going with that one, but.
The middle one? Yeah, he said it looks boring. Would he prefer the lighter one?
I think persimmon is the one that we
the
like
one.
best, too.
Well, I guess I'd like to hear from John about which he thinks is historically appropriate.
Is
Yeah. It's pretty intense. It's almost like a more Victorian color.
Which one?
The persimmon,
Hmm.
and especially if it's going to be combined with a lavender or a purple or something like that.
No, it's not going to be.
Okay.
The door is blue, and then the paint color for the house would be the persimmon.
Okay.
The lavender is the other option.
Oh, I see. The other thing is that it's pretty intense, and I think if you paint a whole house that color, it's going to be more intense. I'm wondering if you might want to do something like a cachet cream that's 6365, and maybe paint a sample on the house and see if you like it. Because my experience with these warm colors is they get very intense, and you'd be surprised. Well, that's interesting. That color on my screen doesn't look like the color on my other computer.
That's part of the problem with doing all this digitally. It looks different on a screen than it does.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna pick up paint samples and put them on before we choose anything.
The sample in person too is a lot calmer than the one online.
right.
Yeah.
One of the things we did with Kimberly was she painted for the sample and then we looked at it.
Right.
How do we feel about that? Because I think that would give us more information about like
A whole lot different.
yeah, if you
Right.
paint like if you get 3 samples and then you paint with 3 samples,
Right.
and then we can, take 15 minutes out of our day and look at
Yeah. That's what I would recommend.
Like Aaron, my experience, we don't have that one blue, we're like, holy crap, this is terrible.
Yeah,
It's very blue.
yeah.
Very
I think
blue.
It's helpful to do that for everyone. Do you all feel good about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good solution. Are you?
Okay.
You
Yep.
feel okay with that?
Yep, we were gonna get paint samples anyway, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Great, well,
Okay.
why don't you do that and then let Matt know.
Okay.
We'll hold approval until we can look at some little sections.
Yeah,
Okay.
So the painter has I think it's coming on the 15th. We did tell him that we needed to get it approved first. That's next Wednesday.
So we'll have a demo to look at after the 15th. And then
No, it sounds like.
Yeah. Situation where it's like, oh no, and the weather isn't gonna turn down.
I know.
I was suggesting a sample as fast as possible on either Monday or Tuesday.
I think we could do them this weekend. It's supposed to be nice after.
Okay.
And then we'll look at it on Monday. Or whenever we're be super great.
yeah,
He could also start, he's fixing the windows.
and you can communicate those votes if it's a choice of A or B.
Okay.
You can communicate those votes by email.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be out of town during that time period. But if a board member takes pictures and sends it around, you can poll by email and take that decision. So you'll have a go, no go on one or the other color.
Okay,
Does that
and
make sense?
Shannon, why don't you do it in relationship to the door so we can see the blue?
Right,
blue
yeah.
is-
Okay.
Color.
I also liked the other page color. That usually doesn't fall out. It was a lighter. Oh, I think that looked good. But anyway, we'll get
You
samples.
could, yeah, you could paint that in the same,
Yeah.
too.
Okay. All right, thank you too. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, and have a great evening. See you later.
All right,
I know this is not fabulous. My dad or mother talks to that. I don't know when they talk about. It has to be like an emergency situation. But
It's a late we can talk about it. He gave us some examples.
if you want me. Okay, I'll look at
Have a good night.
Okay. You have a picture of me because I honestly do not know what next stop either. Here today. Sorry.
Thank you. You're good team player.
Hey, all right, so what happened is you have part of your insurance for the building. And the issue is that they came by last week or the week before, took pictures. I mentioned to them we have a boiler room in the back, and so it's a little small roof. It's roughly 10.5 by 12 on the side. And that roof, because people have turned quickly, you can see like on the end where it's been up, there's some pieces that have actually gone and started rotting out. So the trim edging, the wood trim we have to fix. The metal roof, it is actually more like this roof right here. It does still have a little bit of like the tar and gravel left, but what it currently looks like is similar to that.
in its style or in its color, both.
But
It's the roof of like the rear furnace
yeah,
portion of the building. Yeah.
I just wasn't sure.
yeah, this is very, very similar. The old style tin,
Uh-huh.
like where it's like ridge after ridge after ridge. That's what's currently on it, which is the closest thing you can get right now is gonna be like bucks. I need to replace it and I have to have it done by April 26th, otherwise they won't insure me. They already said, no, I won't insure you, and then they came and took pictures, they're like, nope. I need to have this done, otherwise we won't insure you.
So tell us about this one.
So that is gonna be more your traditional staining and steam, same roof. I understand and I can tell you that I've gone around and looked at all the buildings. I know that just about the majority of them have that on it. My question for you is, since it already had roofing similar to this, could I do this or did it have to be that? That is my question for you.
I could be super wrong on this, but I would say this is actually probably more along the lines of what you want, and that would be kind of like agricultural or like lower quality.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's agriculture.
Yeah, so if you
build
want to switch,
metals, this is a higher quality metal.
yeah,
There is the replacing something in kind doesn't need a COA, and if it's already existing, obviously we can recommend that it's a higher quality, that it's more accurate to the historic buildings, but if it already has that kind of style on it, we can't we can't require it, can we?
I don't think they're the same.
Okay, can I ask this question further?
Well, hold on, let's let Matt finish what he was gonna say.
I don't know the names for all of these different materials. What's there is like a uniform close together corrugation, which yeah, is the older type of shed roof, like before that. You're right. That's the kind of the modern version of doing the same thing, but I couldn't say that like you had found a 10 by 10 panel of the old stuff at an old barn and we're just replacing it in kind. I don't think it's the same.
Okay, so essentially we're starting from scratch and we're saying which we would prefer.
Of modern roofing materials, what is the most appropriate?
Right.
Yeah.
So it does seem like this would be most appropriate because it's historically more accurate.
Historically more accurate, I think, wouldn't it be that way?
The show of that would be, so you're gonna see
Okay.
just these because
Yeah,
they
just
interconnect, so
the-
like that side will look just like this. I think they used to put seams together and then physically bend them over
Yeah,
together.
right on the actual.
And so your look would be more similar to that, but not the product. If you want to,
Yeah, I
like
get
that's
it.
been used for a lot longer. I could totally be off on that, but I use that a lot, so.
What's that?
And that's what you want to use, just to,
All I was truly asking is if I'm replacing what's currently there, did I have to go with this or did I have a choice? That was really my question.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you color wise, I'm looking at one of the two, probably the lighter color, but it's practically the same color. I don't know how else to tell you that. My other question, and this is like later on down the road, the main roof of this building is a flat roof. It currently has metal with a tar and gravel, and then it's like some sort of foam on top of it. At some point, we are gonna have to replace it, but because it's a flat roof, like the slope. And I don't know, you do roofing, so you tell me. Would this type of roof work on it, or is it completely different?
Here's
If I go with metal, does that make sense?
what we're talking about now is that real small portion at the back where where the furnace was.
That'll work in the furnace part. Are you talking about the main part of the roof though?
How would that work? We are getting better onto that.
I would say probably not, just because of the length of it, you'd have to
Yeah.
get full panels, which would be probably like 60 or 70 feet, which is just, you can't move
So
them.
if I
So
go
you'd have to have a
with metal-
break in the middle,
So if I go with metal later, or would it be like a rubber roof later?
probably EPDM.
Right, the reason I'm asking is because I don't wanna be like, oh yeah, we want this, and then have issues with getting approval when I need to do the other one where everybody's like, okay, it doesn't look quite right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're different types of roof, and so they ought to have different materials for the same reason they have different materials now.
Oh, I touched.
That's really, that was just my question. Did I have to? So yeah.
Do you have any last questions?
No, I'm gonna rely on your roofing expertise on this one.
I would not call myself rude,
I-
but
I think that if you're, we are kind of starting from scratch here, then whichever one would be more historically
I think that you're
accurate.
gonna find that for a lot cheaper
That's actually more, it's twice the money of this one.
for whole sheets.
They just picked up in Farmville yesterday.
Okay,
I don't know, I wasn't there, I was at work. Going by the.
that's fine.
So Matt, it's that small one there right on the bottom. So that's,
It's the little back part where the furnace
I
is.
mean,
Standing. Because of its historical accuracy. And then, no, you would not put this on the flat roof, so yeah, you wouldn't need to worry about that.
I was just curious, like I was just trying to make.
Yeah.
I didn't have an
So
issue
that's
with
not, yeah, the.
I could be wrong, I haven't seen the slope of that, but usually when it's more flat and you have to split them up, it's just a way, when wind is pushing up, it's gonna get.
Mhm.
Yeah, go with EPDM or
Yeah,
something like that.
it's almost flat.
Yeah.
And the other thing to check on this photo is from the back, from the top of Harrison Street looking down. I wasn't sure if the angle was going to work out. It was almost obscured by the hillside. And one of our exemptions is if it can't be seen from a public street, it doesn't matter. And so this was almost exempt, but for the height of the hill,
Right,
it can't be seen from the Valley Street side.
right. So can I have a motion for,
I also need to put on a gutter to make sure we don't have any build up against the building on water and everything too, because it is brick, like the particular bricks on the boiler room are really, really porous.
Mhm.
If anybody looks at it, or we don't have an issue, then we want to make sure that the gutter is fine to do as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if the gutter is fine to do we have a preference as far as the color? Are you interested in a white gutter, or are you interested in something like this?
I don't truly know. I think we're gonna go with the white gutter. I'm gonna have to double check though to make sure it's gonna look right, like with the brick, because you still have the chimney and everything. I don't want something that would stick out and circle. If you saw, we talked about like we're going back and forth on the whole air conditioning. Clearly, we went blue, including the air conditioner. I mean, I can come back for the gutter aspect right now. What I absolutely have to have is making sure I can seal the roof. Try to make sure the gutter, if I have to come back and get approval, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a preference either way, honestly, if that's
Okay.
what's there. I'm the new guy, so I don't know how this usually works, but I mean.
Well, I would argue for the standing seam because it's more historically accurate, and there's an option to sort of
Do it.
to correct it so it is historically accurate.
So how would you work later on for like the regular roof part? How would that work? Is this rubber roof considered historically accurate? If it's not, then how would anybody do a rubber roof anywhere around here?
It's not historically accurate. I mean, I
Great,
don't
so like how
the
can you,
architect probably.
I'm not, okay, understand.
Hey,
And to be honest, like, I'm probably leaning this way after looking at everybody.
Yeah, is she
Because
still
I'm-
on?
I just wanted to know. However, I don't feel like in a general sense, you can go historically accurate on anything if there's gonna be, is there a rule in there for like exceptions of, hey, this type of roof, you can't physically do this to make it historically accurate? Does that make sense?
hey,
Yeah.
John, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Would you be able to chime in regards to the rubber roofing?
I'd like
And
to
then
know.
the historical accuracy?
Well, I actually don't think it's a question of is rubber historically accurate, because it's not. I think it's more of a question of what was historically accurate for flat
Taller, probably.
roofs or slightly sloped roofs.
Well, they would, it'd either be, they'd take their standing metal seam and they'd knock it flat. So it'd actually be flat panels, but it'd still be metal. For a low slope roof like that. Or they would do tar over felt, which I think a rubber roof would be a good replacement for a tarred roof if that was in place.
Black EPDM looks like tar.
Yeah.
So maybe where we have white plastic on the roof of this building now, changing to black plastic would improve the character, right?
So it wouldn't change to black, I can say that. The roof wouldn't be black from what we were looking at, like John Road. What I'm hoping to eventually go to is gonna be metal of some sort. There's currently tar and gravel, and then it's foam. It's a couple inches worth of foam. That foam like comes off. I don't know why they did the foam on top of tar and gravel with metal on it. It's like several layers worth of material.
Insulation, patching.
It's like the whole thing is like spray foam.
Yeah, it's probably just a quick leaking roof.
Well, metal would be preferable, but it would also be a lot more expensive.
Yeah. This is just like in the future, like what would the options be?
It sounds like the rubber or metal.
Okay. Yeah.
So
The other part that's important is there a parapet roof or is there a parapet wall above the roof? And
there it is.
Yeah, so it's important how you deal with that coping. Yeah.
You know what the coping is. It's where like
So if you decide to go with a rubber roof or something
around the parapet, around the outer wall.
So what's on top of the outer wall right now is like the equivalent of like terracotta. I don't know, what are they considered? They're not shingles, but like terracotta shingles is like what they look like.
Like,
They're an inch thick.
like tiles that hold the material down, right?
Yeah, that would be important to keep, I think.
That's
You know, at
awesome.
137,
Yeah, they're just weights. Yeah, I can see them. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So like the sprayed stuff is like
Mhm.
up the sides, but it doesn't go over on top of that edge.
Yep.
So John, you're saying that would be important to
You have to keep those. I
keep.
keep.
See that.
yeah, whatever the solution is, it'd be best to keep those tiles rather than take them off and wrap aluminum over the top of the wall or rubber as they did, you know, down by the bridge on that building.
Mhm.
'Cause
Right.
Trying try to preserve those decorative elements.
Yeah,
where
they
they
have
exist.
these on the flower shop, or they had them on the flower shop as well, and I looked at that roof to fix it.
Yeah.
And lots of them were broken, so I
These
don't,
are not, I've been on.
okay, so they're good. I was gonna say that could probably be a big expense if we do say, you know,
We're working on a
keep those.
watershed deal right now from Carmel Rears building,
Mhm.
where their roof actually watersheds onto our roof. But at some point, we're gonna have to have a conversation with them. But that's why I'm asking about the gutter also on the smaller roof, because that current gutter that's on the back roof that eventually I'm gonna have to fix. It's a lot of water off of that whole roof, plus part of their roof coming off onto us, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Well, what do you guys think about this stuff?
Like I said, I understand every other building owner that I can say right now that I'm not working with anybody either way. I just wanted to know if they had the one to the, did it have to be? That
It's
was
also
really my only question.
on the back of the building, and it's a small.
It's a real small piece.
It is, yeah, that one is a lot less noticeable than the actual roof itself.
right.
I sort of feel like you're wrong.
Yeah.
I understand wanting to go inside, I do that.
You know, I like the historical accuracy, but I would also, you know, argue that since it is such a small roof, I wouldn't be opposed to either option. If
All right,
it
well,
was,
let's just make a decision either way, because Kimberly is, that's what Kimberly is asking for. So.
okay. So you prefer this option here? This,
I don't honestly know what it is. I got him yesterday, my parents brought him to me, I'll tell you what happened.
okay.
They also talked to that. So that happened for a little while, you know, sorry, there's a funny last minute, I'm just in a crunch because of the insurance company telling me I've got to have it done. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's.
I move to approve the use of either product before us with the knowledge that the ARB recommends using the standing seam.
That's
Uh,
the way to put it.
I second said
All in
motion.
favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
Aye.
Great.
thank you.
Matt, what are we doing? Fill out the rest of us.
I think you're good. Top line is signed.
And just in case you guys are talking about this, that little half moon window up above that still needs to be scraped and painted and filled on the building. I don't know if anybody's talking about this or not. I know it was mentioned a couple meetings ago. We were just waiting for weather to actually turn nice. My mother was thinking she can no longer do it because she just had knee surgery. Well, that cannot help me fill out the stuff and go to the rest. And being able to have surgery on Monday, but I am for the roof. I'm hoping to get the same guy to just get up there, fix it, and paint it. Just
Sure.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, community. I don't know. Thank you all.
Great,
Thank you and
thank
have a good
you.
evening.
Want me to sign this?
Yeah, sure. Fine. Thank you. If you detail your voting item there, that will help me remember when I do the follow-up.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good night.
Sorry.
All right, let's talk about this chair appointment.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, with Zach having resigned, it's our responsibility to elect a new chair, and then it will be our responsibility next month. Hopefully Austin can be here to elect a vice chair. So today I would like to recommend Aaron to be I would like to make a motion for Aaron to become our new chair of the Architectural Review Board.
I'll second that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All in favor?
Well,
Aye.
Oh,
You're outvoted, Aaron.
so
It's called voluntold, I think.
we need to have a conversation.
okay.
We already made them.
So you can go, yeah, it would go, all in favor and then discussion and,
Okay.
or I guess, no, discussion and then the actual vote, yeah.
So, with Matt leaving, I'm a little bit nervous because he carries so much information, and what that does mean is I then need to carry all that information once he leaves. So that's a lot. I'm just gonna sort of spitball here because I was not foreseeing this.
Sure.
So, so there's that, and then there's the piece that my life is going to get a little bit more insane in the next year, and I want is this appointment, is it 2 years? Is that right?
Give the term length sheet on hand.
Your
term does end. This is not an indefinite commitment. It's very fair to ask, how long would I be doing this for? Absolutely.
And I want to thank you, Josh, for thinking of me and for you all putting your faith and trust in me.
So I mean, I've been to a few of these rodeos, and so how typically, the memberships all go is someone who carries the most experience on board and has, a little bit of not background knowledge in the areas suited for it. But that is a very fair thing to say, is if you don't feel like you have the time to devote to it.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Zach chaired for almost 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And Jeffrey Plank chaired for 15 years before that, at least. And so the institutional memory is a big part of how this works.
Right.
Knowing the history of the buildings, how they've changed over time, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Building up the public trust.
Yeah.
In the legitimate work.
Don't let him scare you, though.
I know.
By saying that
we may be in a different age now.
We are volunteers, and at any moment you can say this is too much.
Right.
I mean, I've served as chair for planning commission for 1 year, and I've been doing everything for 6 years. I'm like, I need to step back and do my own thing. So
is there a term?
Your current term on the board has about a year and a half left in it. These boards do normally reorganize annually. ARB does not have that history because the officers have been so stable, but it would not be out of order next January to choose new officers.
Okay.
And we could make that note. That's not something ARB's done before because the membership has been so stable.
Right.
But if you only felt comfortable chairing for 9 months, reorganizing in January would be fine.
Okay. Well, that feels, I do feel a certain responsibility as a result of being the longest acting, member on the ARB, and I want to make sure that if things do get crazy in my own life, then there's a vice chair who could take on the responsibility. I'm open to it, knowing that you all are informed, that I've informed you that things may get a little crazy for me,
Right.
and then I may need to step down. But at that point, you all will hopefully be on here. You all will hopefully be on here for longer and have that institutional knowledge and be able to carry that torch.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How does
Okay.
that sound to you, John?
That sounds very honest and realistic.
Okay. Great. My husband is going to give me help when I get home. Okay. I'm happy to move forward.
Okay. I'll steal the spotlight for 1 second and go ahead and call for a or do the all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
All right.
Twice in the same night.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So then as far as vice chair is concerned, does that
Go ahead and do that.
let's do that.
Well,
Well, I was gonna wait for Austin, so we
okay.
could get his opinion on,
That sounds good.
make sure he's okay. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, if you are chair, so I don't want to step on your toes. Yeah.
Team
Oh.
I do think that we are going to, once Matt leaves, we are going to have to, Matt, as I said, carries a lot of the information. So we refer to him and ask him questions about the guidelines and things as such. And so I think we're all going to have to do a little bit more work to brush up on that and keep that in our back pockets in each of these meetings, because I foresee that unless somebody has done great research on the ARB guidelines before they step into your role, then we're going to need to answer those questions.
I certainly want to help with the transition, and I will. I have probably 2 months here still, and we'll communicate the importance of this work for the community. Having the guideline documents and the zoning ordinance section printed out and handy in a little binder makes it easy to refer to and inform your decisions to the public, that they're not arbitrary, that like this is the law and you're interpreting it for people, and where it has flexibility you can use it, but you're helping me as the zoning administrator enforce the zoning ordinance.
Are you busy tomorrow afternoon?
No.
Morning? Can I come by and we'll print off the nice document and I mean, if you're okay, I'll hold on. I can reference the guidelines and stuff.
Great.
In our meetings.
Great.
Make 5.
Yeah, let me work with you and make 5 copies. I did some similar for planning
Great.
commission.
Yeah.
Maybe we just do that, and talking about institutional knowledge and
Yeah.
turnover, that'll probably help for the next person.
Yes.
down the road.
Definitely.
What's a good time for you tomorrow?
Just in the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like
What
good-
time works for you, John?
Good Friday afternoon task.
I'll have pretty much all day, so whenever works.
Yeah, hop over after lunch. I'll be doing the regular, and then I'll step away from that.
Awesome. Yeah. Sweet.
Great.
Sounds good. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Your annual inventory. Did
Yeah.
John, did you have a chance to check those buildings out?
I did. It looked like the reviews were accurate. I had a note about let's see, 560 East Main Street is really vacant, but we've rated it as a poor. Should it be? It doesn't seem like there's a building on that site.
Oh, it's a vacant site.
Yeah.
Which one? That might be the
It's this burned lot. Yeah. That has some unfortunate history going back to the fire that was there.
Right.
You're right. It doesn't have a building on it.
The reason why we rated it 4 was because it has detritus on it that's been there for 2 years, 3 years.
Long time.
For a while. Yeah.
And we felt like it needed to be cleaned up.
Is there another part of the zoning code that could help with that goal?
That's a good question.
We discussed this.
The property owner's probably gonna be pretty willing to just do it if we ask them. I don't know if there's any experience with asking them, but
No, I don't, I think that, so the last conversation we had regarding it is, it doesn't really fall under our purview for maintenance. And so like where I questioned it was because it's a entryway, but it doesn't quite fall into that area. But I mean, we really could just have a quick conversation with any of the Hotchis, and
That's
I know
probably
they-
a better way to approach it.
yeah, and
I know them. pretty
Yeah.
well, so it could probably be.
I'd love to hear the status of it. That's one of the few spots in town where the ARB could help guide new construction in the historic district, which is exciting. And it gives you some interesting kind of design conversations, but I don't know where they stand with it.
Okay, and then 105 Moore Street is poor, and is that because that the window is rotted? Is that why it's poor and not fair?
Oh.
Moore's Hill. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt's pulling it up on the computer, John.
It's
Okay.
This is one that Aaron and I did.
It's the second one, just above Doug's Maytag, and then the one on the corner, and the next one up from there.
So I remember this one being of concern because we rated it poor because the windows plural were rotting.
Yeah.
And that felt like a permeate, like an opening into the envelope.
Okay. So like vermin could get in there.
Right, and water.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
this the
I mean,
one that had the siding on the one entire siding of the house was all gone.
No, I don't think
The
so.
one next to it.
Is there no street view?
It's up that hill.
Sorry, you might be talking about.
It's a gray house. It's a little bit up the road.
Doesn't seem much like that.
Can you find out like Zillow or?
Yeah, now that I know we can do that. That's fun. That's fascinating.
No, that doesn't look.
I want to buy that house. Was this not? It was, yeah. Yes, I think this is the one with the rotting windows, not with the siding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the rotting windows in the front.
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense to me what you said.
Okay.
Yeah. And otherwise, I think everything looked good.
Okay, great. Thanks for reviewing it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the board was, you were clear on your findings and you were just waiting for any agreement or dispute from John. Right.
Correct.
Okay. So my next step on this will be to lock down that list with all of the notes and things. And of the 10 or so poor condition properties, I'll write up the first notice to those property owners describing the process that we did, the legal basis for it, and the specific finding taken out of your notes.
Great.
That it is in poor condition because of these things. You need to contact this board through the COA process and repair those things. which is fine, no big deal. And
Yeah.
some of them are quite small.
Yes.
If it's one broken pane of glass, fix one broken pane of glass, no big deal. Right.
And within that, do you include the excellent, good, fair, poor ratings? Or just a description of poor?
I define poor. So
Okay.
here's the reasons for it.
Okay.
And then here are the specific findings on your property that make it poor.
Okay.
And so some property owners will challenge that of, well, I don't think it should be poor. So we can deal with that if necessary. Some will simply fix it on their own.
Right.
Which isn't great because we should have this documented process, but if it's the repair in kind of exemption,
Right.
It goes by and just happens.
Yeah.
So I'll make rounds in the summer
Okay.
and before serving any more serious notice about
Yeah.
where do they all stand. You should expect to see a couple of them come in promptly. They get this notice, maybe they haven't gotten it before, they come here and they promptly fix it.
Okay.
What we found is that a few of them fix it easily, a few of them fix it without even telling us, and then a couple are more chronic, difficult customers that we need to lean more on for enforcement action.
Okay.
Last year, we got as far as setting a priority for starting legal action on the zoning violation, served that. The property also had a tax sale issue. East Main Street, and they did at the last minute consent to begin doing repairs. So I was encouraged that, you know, if we're fair but deliberate about our process and move it along, it's like, this is the law, you have to follow it.
Right.
And be prepared to exercise consequences. Town council has supported that, and it does make a difference, but it's hard to get there. It's a long time coming.
Right. Well, and you know, intentionally, because at that point you're able to collect enough evidence to say there's been no progress. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And council was comfortable that you know, everybody has an interest in historic preservation, and we have some real negligence among some of these property owners, and it's not fair to everybody else who's doing their work.
Okay.
Great. Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all. Can I have a move to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh,
Second.
All in favor? Excellent. Thanks for your efficiency and authenticity. What are we, what do we do with this wonderful guy? Like, are you?
So
Is it?
it should be council's process for
Yeah.
assignment. Yeah.
Okay, so they nominate you?
Is it?
yeah, the next work session will include some discussion about all the committee assignments. So if you have not enjoyed this test drive and want to tell council, please put someone else on IRB. You can sort that out.
Yes.
But they'll formally vote on a slate of committee assignments at this month's meeting.
Yeah. All right.
But thank you for stepping up here.
Yeah, I appreciate your construction knowledge.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Thank you. I'm just learning it myself.
It's helpful.
And John, keep in touch about what works and doesn't work about this hybrid format. I'll do what I can to make it, you know, easy for you to follow along, but you shouldn't have to drive long distances for things like this unless it's really necessary for you to handle something.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm shifting from my Dell computer to a Mac, and I think the Mac is much easier to communicate with. It's looking so.
Oh,
Sorry about the little stumble at the beginning, but
Oh, good.
yeah.
All right.
So,
John,
hopefully it's easier for
your knowledge is greatly appreciated.
Okay, good.
Good
Happy
night,
to support you, Aaron. I think you'd be a
Good
great
night.
chairman. Yeah.
All right, have a wonderful evening, guys.
See you.